The tires feel wrong. Something is off, and there is no time to think about why it's happening. The wall is rushing closer with every passing second. The car refuses to respond to any correction, and every instinct says the same thing. Hold on, because there's nothing left to do but hold on. For a fraction of a second, the car slides sideways across the racing surface, metal scraping against metal, sparks flying off the wall, and an entire championship dream starts slipping away with it. There is no time to process what just happened. There is only the sound of the impact and the silence that follows. This is Iowa Speedway, lap 91, and the driver spinning helplessly into the wall is Shane Van Gisbergen. This isn't just a bad finish on an ordinary Sunday afternoon. It's a countdown. 3 races remain in the regular season. His cushion has been cut in half in a single afternoon. A chase spot that once looked completely secure suddenly isn't secure at all. Speaking of milestones under pressure, NASCAR Insider TV is closing in on 1,500 subscribers. And if you're not part of that number yet, hit subscribe, drop a like, and leave a comment below, because this chase battle is only getting tighter from here, and you will not want to miss what happens next. Van Gisbergen arrived at Iowa holding a 57-point cushion over the chase cut line, enough room in theory to absorb a rough day without lasting damage. Then Iowa happened. He spun in stage 2, finished 30th, 3 laps down on a track where he was expected to at least survive. The cushion shrank from 57 points to just 47 points, with only 3 regular season races left on the entire schedule before the postseason field is locked in. The stakes in 2026 are different from years past, and that difference matters more than it might first appear. The chase format has returned in its traditional form, and there is no elimination bracket, no win and you're automatically in shortcut to fall back on. It comes down purely to the top 16 drivers in points once the regular season officially ends. Nothing more, nothing less, no exceptions. Every stage point now carries real weight toward that final number. Every pit stop matters more than it did a month ago. Every single position gained or lost on track has direct consequences on where a driver stands. The question hanging over the rest of this season is simple and unavoidable. What if 47 points isn't enough to hold on? Nobody doubted Van Gisbergen's road course ability coming into this season, and nobody doubts it now. He proved it again at Watkins Glen, winning there for the 2nd straight year, his 7th Cup win in just 14 career road course starts. That number alone separates him from almost every other driver in the field. The real mystery was always the ovals, whether the 3-time Supercars champion could turn raw natural talent into a complete, consistent package on tracks that don't reward his usual strengths. For most of 2026, the answer looked like a clear yes. But the remaining schedule, Richmond, New Hampshire, Daytona, does not play to that strength in the same way road courses do. NASCAR insider Bob Pockrass summed up the situation directly, saying, SVG's oval ceiling has risen, but the floor is still a work in progress. That single phrase, the floor is still a work in progress, sits at the center of everything happening around him right now, and it will likely define how this entire stretch of races is remembered. This is no longer a story about just one driver chasing a single goal. Van Gisbergen currently sits 15th in points, but directly behind him is Austin Cindric, sitting just 29 points above the cut line himself. Below the cut line, closing in fast, are Ryan Preece, Ross Chastain, Brad Keselowski, and Eric Jones. Only 68 points separate all 6 drivers currently fighting for the final 2 chase spots available. Van Gisbergen does not need to collapse completely to lose his position. He simply needs to keep slipping, and the pack behind him will do the rest of the work. Across NASCAR forums, a growing belief has taken hold among fans watching closely. If SVG misses the chase this season, it won't be his road course racing that costs him. It will be everything else on the calendar. The evidence on both sides of this argument tells 2 very different stories, and both are equally real. At North Wilkesboro, Van Gisbergen finished 5th and led 49 laps, clear proof that the oval ceiling is real and still rising with every race. Richmond itself isn't unfamiliar territory either. He ran 14th there last year and spent real, meaningful time inside the top 10 throughout that race. In the moment he took the lead at North Wilkesboro, Van Gisbergen admitted, "I got pretty excited." But the pessimistic case carries just as much weight. Iowa wasn't an isolated blip on an otherwise clean record. Earlier in the year, following San Diego, he scored only 1 point in a race he was widely expected to dominate from start to finish. His own words after Iowa capture the helplessness of that entire Sunday. "I don't know what happened. It just felt like it had flats the whole time." Compare that admission to his usual defiant motto, "Race everything," and the contrast becomes stark. A driver who, for one single weekend, looked completely lost on a track he needed to conquer. Which version of Van Gisbergen shows up at Richmond? Nobody knows the answer right now. Not even his own team can say for certain, and that uncertainty alone is what makes this particular weekend feel different from every other race left on the schedule. Adding even more pressure to an already difficult weekend, Van Gisbergen isn't only racing on Sunday. He's also jumping into the number 7 Spire Motorsports Chevrolet for Friday's Truck Series race, his 5th career truck start, and the 4th of 2026 alone. Recent runs include podium finishes at Watkins Glen and North Wilkesboro, showing real strength in that equipment. More track time on Friday could build confidence heading into Sunday's much more important Cup race, or a rough Friday could rattle him before the race that actually decides everything. What happens if he gets caught in traffic during that truck race? What if the truck gets damaged in an incident that isn't even his fault? What if the confidence he badly needs gets replaced with frustration before he's even strapped into the Cup car on Sunday? Richmond was already shaping up to be a pressure test on its own. Now it's a pressure test with a countdown clock that starts a full day early. There are 3 separate storylines colliding inside one single team right now. Ross Chastain is fighting for his own chase life with just as much urgency. Connor Zilisch is developing as a rookie under a very different kind of pressure. And Van Gisbergen has become the organization's clearest postseason threat heading into the final stretch. Fans have started asking fair questions in response to all of this. Could his global profile mean more attention, more resources, and more internal pressure on Trackhouse Racing to deliver results specifically for him? There is no confirmed evidence of any internal favoritism or sponsor interference behind the scenes. The real tension here is colder and far more honest than any conspiracy theory could ever be. The points table does not care about storylines, reputations, or global profiles. Every 1/10 of a second now carries a real price tag attached to it, and no amount of outside attention changes what the scoring pylon shows at the end of a race. The math alone tells the whole story without needing any extra commentary. 57 points, then 47 points. And it could fall faster from here, 25, then 15, then 5, then nothing at all separating survival from elimination. Van Gisbergen remains inside the top 16 for now, but the pressure closing in from every direction is real, and it is not slowing down as the season enters its final stretch. Richmond won't just decide a finishing position on a Sunday afternoon. It will decide whether Iowa was simply a warning sign, or the beginning of a genuine collapse. Can Shane Van Gisbergen simply remain standing when the chase battle reaches its most unforgiving stage yet? Let us know what you think in the comments below, and share this video with another NASCAR fan who needs to see this exact breakdown before Sunday. If you enjoy real NASCAR breakdowns like this, you'll like what's coming next.